All right, so it's no secret that Elon Musk has left Washington, leaving both sides reacting. The left claims he's responsible for 300,000 deaths and he's a drug abuser. Well, in this video, I'm going to debunk both of those ridiculous claims. Let's start here.
Here's to this one. Bono, we know him. He's the frontman of the Irish rock band U2, of course. He's facing backlash today after some comments he made on Joe Rogan's podcast. A musician and activist claiming and citing a Boston University academic that Trump look, the whole administration's all the cuts to the U.S. Agency for International Development, for example, USAID. It could have been a factor in hundreds of thousands of deaths. Listen to this.
Just recent report. It's not proven, but the surveillance enough suggests 300,000 people have already died from just this cut off, this hard cut of USAID. So there's food rotting in boats, in warehouses.
Well, Trump supporters are responding to the comment, calling the rock star a liar. And this is all happening while the former Doge chief Elon Musk is tweeting that 0 people have died.
See, this is the kind of garbage that gets people outraged about politics. He says that it's not proven, but surveillance suggests. Surveillance he hasn't seen, surveillance that he's not in charge of. Who is the surveillance from? He didn't even mention that. But he goes on to Joe Rogan and makes a claim that Elon Musk is responsible for 300,000 deaths. And when you come out with a heavy claim, you better back it up with data, supporting documentation, pictures, and videos. And of course, the left, they never do that.
So your thoughts on this story today, Steve? Do you think these remarks are gaining, they are gaining a lot of traction. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, Bono, he's a great singer. U2 has some great music. He's not necessarily the person you turn to for hardcore political analysis. I love that he's like, there are some reports, there's surveillance on the ground that perhaps as many as 300,000 people have died from some cuts. That it's obviously absurd and political spin. And is it fair to say what Elon Musk is saying is that it has affected 0 people worldwide? The idea of essentially, cutting off USAID in a pretty severe way. Probably not. It's probably the truth is somewhere in the middle. But look, it's so funny. Joe Rogan's getting attacked for even having Bono on. It's like, it's a huge star. Why not have him on, have a dialogue? And it should be no surprise. We know Bono's political leanings. We also know that he probably is not spending every second of his life fact-checking the types of news that he's reading. So I don't see any problem with Bono saying it. I think we should all take anything that any of these celebrities are saying with a grain of salt and do our own checking. Watch News Nation instead. Probably get more of the facts than listening to Bono.
The unfortunate part about what Bono is saying there is that half the country will believe him. They'll take it as fact. They won't even do their research. And you know how I feel about that, which is why we use Ground News. So if you guys want to follow along, just go to ground.news/Devori, because this tool helps you do your own research and shows you what both sides are saying. So from the 300,000 deaths that they're saying that Elon Musk is responsible for, they're also saying he has a drug problem. Okay, well, we already know that he ended his special government employee status on May 30th. As soon as he did that, the New York Times dropped a report alleging that he used ketamine and other drugs extensively while supporting President Trump's campaign. Even though they have no, facts to back that up, it's all speculation. Now, in case you missed a clip of what Elon Musk had to say about this, here it is.
There is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between...
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer counter.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times, let's move on.
Yeah, the media won't move on because they have to ridicule anybody associated with President Trump. So here is an example of it. Again, you guys can follow along by going to ground.news/Devori. From the Daily Beast, this article leans left. White House refuses to come clean on Musk's drug testing. They refuse to come clean? Here's another one, right? Musk does not deny New York Times report of his drug abuse. What are you guys trying to say there? And here's an article that leans right from the Washington Times. Elon Musk won't validate New York Times report on his drug use, slams it for lies, Russiagate hoax. That's why, again, I encourage you guys to use Ground News. It'll help you do your own research, see what both sides are saying, so you don't have to listen to me or mainstream media to make up your own mind. So if you want to use this tool for yourself, all you have to do is go to ground.news/Devori, or you can download the mobile app. Just use promo code Devori, and it's going to give you access to everything that I showed you in this video, including 40% off the Vantage plan.
You mentioned Doge. Elon Musk yesterday, he officially left his position in the White House and a sort of a send-off from President Trump. You have been a supporter of Musk and his Doge team. But with his exit now, what does Elon Musk's role look like within the Trump administration?
Well, no, it's whatever he wants it to be. He can do whatever he wants, I assume. But I believe he lit the fire. Really, that's what I think the intent was there, and to show the American public how somebody can come in just a short amount of time and show you incredible waste, billions upon billions of dollars. But again, Congress has to have the guts to pass something. I have a piece of legislation to defund the Taliban. We send them $40 million a week. The State Department, in an unclassified document, as I have in my office, 5 pages long, it shows that we've in fact given them $5 billion total. Yet Congress doesn't have the guts to stop that. The reason is because of the NGOs, the non-government organizations. We have close to 1,000 of them that are working in Afghanistan, and the Taliban gets their cut every week. They will hate us for free, ma'am. We ought to cut them off. Again, the NGOs, the money flows right back to Washington, and we better start watching whose pocket it goes in.
I think that's exactly what happened with Elon Musk, is he started to get too close to where the money was going. And that's what sparked all of this outrage. And they wrap it all under, people are losing lives. People are going to be kicked off healthcare. All of these, outrageous statements that came out through the media and from Democrats. And, a lot of people ate it up. They refuse to do their research. I mean, even if half of what they say is true, ultimately the taxpayers should know where the money is going and should have a say. And according to polling, they don't support what Congress has been doing with the money, especially USAID. And by the way, guys, Democrats are celebrating that Elon Musk is leaving. Just take a look at this clip.
Your thoughts on Elon Musk and his departure from Washington?
Hallelujah is what I gotta say. Is it Sunday? Let us all give thanks to the good Lord above. Listen, let me tell you something. He is gone, but the Musk is still going to linger in the air. We know, as you went through in your intro, that there are so many people that have been impacted by these ridiculous and not thought out cuts. And it's not just the federal workers. It's those constituents of ours, our citizens, that are being impacted the hardest by these cuts.
Okay, that's Jasmine Crockett for you, right? The leader of the Democrats. See, here's the thing that gets me the most, and it's in the form of a question. Let's say most of the things she's saying is true. Elon Musk, the way that he went about it was too fast. They didn't think it through. It was a sledgehammer. It wasn't surgical. And it was bad. Okay. So the better question here, folks, in regards to this debate is, do you still believe that the cuts that were made should still be made? And the answer to that will tell you everything you need to know about that person. And I'm of the belief Democrats don't want any cuts. I would argue Republicans don't want cuts either. And how do we know that? Just look at the results. Over the past decade, what cuts? They don't even know where the money's going. Elon Musk showed them where the money was going. That tells you everything you need to know. Now, let's hear a perspective that leans right on this issue. That's Kevin O'Leary. He spoke to CNN this morning and said this.
I offered some of these same thoughts on radio yesterday, and the listener response was none too happy. They say, oh, Musk was in it for himself. He had access to our own private data, and he was cruel in his approach. You would say what?
No, I think he was honest in terms of his objectives. He said he could save money for the taxpayer. That should be a bipartisan activity. I believe it was. I thought he brought forward into the taxpayer psyche a new idea of auditing government in perpetuity, which I find extremely interesting because no one's ever done it quite that way. What he did experience is what most people do. Washington is a very nasty, nasty place. And the closer you get to the sun, the more your feathers get burned. That's for everybody. He found out the hard way. That's okay. It's a good learning lesson. And I've only started going to Washington for the last 3 years, and I've realized how tough it is. I thought he did a masterful job. And most people, even though lots were offended by the speed at which he went at it, or maybe the way he implemented it, at the end of the day, taxpayers would like to save money, period. And I don't know why everybody can't get behind that. The more you think about what he did, the more you should applaud it.
And I think the best way to sum it all up is what Frank Lutz posted on X. I got to give credit where credit is due. This is a good, solid take right here. Pay attention. Elon did something nobody else has done. He talked about cutting government waste, fraud, and abuse. Then he actually acted on it. While some may disagree with how he talked about it, Elon Musk made a commitment to take on wasteful spending, which the vast majority of Americans support, and he kept his word. Good for him, good for us. Now, of course, in the end, the establishment won because, in all honesty, even if we take the $160 billion that was saved, they'll just get eaten up, obviously, by this big, beautiful bill and the continuous government spending that goes on and on and on. That is the cold, hard truth.
So I think you've just answered my poll question from Kevin O'Leary's perspective. Which was the bigger impediment? You don't think it was his methodology. You think it's the bureaucracy and the built-in institutional fiefdoms.
Yes, I believe that to be correct. But in the end, what we've learned is there's a value to the check and balance in Washington. You think about the three different impediments you've got. You've got the executive. You certainly have Congress. And you have the judiciary. I mean, you have to deal with all of them. You can't just mandate, save $1 billion here, save $1 billion there. You have to actually go through the system. And that's where the system grinds you down.
Yeah, and maybe we were all naive to some degree here, including Elon Musk, because the mission was spot on. The purpose was spot on. The goal was spot on. You can debate the tactics. I can give people that. That's fine. But the fact that they went to the level of calling him, one, a Nazi, two, vandalizing his Tesla vehicles and also dealerships. I mean, remember, people were planting bombs at Tesla dealerships. And three, now they're accusing him of being a druggie and he has a drug problem. And four, they're saying that he is responsible for killing 300,000 people. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of people who are unhinged and they're not well mentally because politics, they take it too seriously. Now, on the subject of Elon Musk and that Nazi salute, I have to show you this because this happened today. Cory Booker was speaking in California to Democrats, and here's how he ended his speech. And here it is, folks. Looks like Booker executed a Nazi salute today. I'm waiting for mainstream media to break this story wide open. I know they won't. In fact, in some way, this is probably, I don't know what you call it, rage bait. Maybe he purposely did it because he knew he would get a rise out of people. Or maybe he's doing it because he believes that's not a Nazi salute, but only as it pertains to Democrats, because if Elon Musk does it, it is one. Okay, once again, it's just disgusting. All right, let's sum it all up, give it the bottom line, and I want your reaction in the comment section below. The story today was about New York Times accusing Elon Musk of being a drug abuser or having a drug problem. Then Bono goes on to Joe Rogan and claims that Elon Musk is responsible for 300,000 deaths. We already have what happened this year where Tesla dealerships were obviously vandalized. In some cases, bombs were planted, including the Tesla vehicles that were repeatedly vandalized. And then that Elon Musk is a Nazi because of that salute that Booker just did, but I guess because he did it, it makes him a Nazi. So the bottom line here, folks, is Democrats make these extreme claims. They expect that people won't do their research. People eat it up because these are emotionally triggering claims, if that's the proper term for it. Mainstream media just naturally supports what Democrats say, even though they claim to be, the protector of truth. And so the bottom line is, this is once again another hoax, and half the country will eat it up. Now, I want to get your guys' reaction to everything we discussed in the comment section below. Now, speaking of nonsense, you got to see the reaction from President Trump's major announcement in Pittsburgh yesterday. This comes as U.S. Steel Corporation has an agreement with the Japanese steel company, And of course, mainstream media is losing their mind after what President Trump announced. If you missed that story and more from yesterday, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.